Morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998, and I still got plenty of stuff to work on. Today, I'm practicing some limb independence in these live streams. Think of this as office hours. I'm here to practice. I'm here to improve, and I will answer questions that are in the different YouTube chats, either the vertical or the horizontal, if anyone happens to have questions about how to get better as a performer or how to get better as an educator. In all these 500 plus live streams, there are timestamps in the description to show what I was practicing or what kind of a question I was answering. Often I will get questions that I will edit and I will put into this drumming tips playlist that has over 20 hours of Q&A across all these different live streams that I've done over the years. And the first thing that I talk about is whatever the title is. So for example, perfectionism may be holding back your drumming. Or should you play multiple instruments to teach percussion? Or how long it actually takes to get good on drums. But if it says and other drumming tips, and other teaching tips, that means there are more topics in there besides that. If it doesn't say that, like on drumming tip number 100, that means I spend almost 15 minutes just talking about whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education. So, lots of different responses in here, from simple stuff like what are roughs or how to work on traditional grip, to more complicated stuff like whether or not you should get a doctorate in music education. Huge range, everything in between. Now, I am a rudimental drummer followed by concert percussionist, and less than 1% of my time has been on limb independence, so I'm not very good at it yet. So I need Shia LaBeouf here to help motivate me to get good at limb independence. So Shia is going to help motivate me, and we're going to hide him because of copyright. Here we go. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Hit my mic. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Wow, Shia LaBeouf. Everybody's super motivated. One more flex for good luck. Okay, I'm practicing out of this book. It's called 50 Ways to Syncopation. It's by Don Moyle. Highly recommend the book. It's got 50 ways that you can work on limb independence. But there's also some other books that can help with that. Similar style, or at least similar idea. New Breed 1 and New Breed 2 by Gary Chester. Also two very good books. Highly recommend them. But I'm going to be using free resources that are in my YouTube channel's home tab. So if you go to my home tab here, if you scroll through the home tab, there's a bunch of different sections. So if you're a rudimental drummer like myself, there's all this chop stuff. There are currently 91 videos that are in the chop sections in the different playlists. There's over 1,000 grid variations. There's so many you actually have to click the header to show more. So you can actually see all of these different playlists for all these different rudiments. There's the limb independence section. I'll show you those in a moment. There's a bunch of drumline related stuff from march and bass drum. Over 500 videos in all these different playlists. There's more inside of the header, so check out the timing ones at the end. There's some drumline cadences and score format. There's computer science stuff because I'm a nerd. There's sight reading exercises. These all start releasing in November, so stay tuned. There's almost 500 technique exercises. Also, so many that you have to click to expand. Later on at the end of the stream, I'm going to be practicing double bass, and I'm going to use the endurance and speed exercises to work on that. There's currently 70 videos in that playlist, but there's a ton more free exercises inside of here. And then here's at the beginning where I mentioned the 20 hours of drumming Q&A are in this playlist. And then this one has some scripted lessons on very specific topics. So for example, one talking about flams, one talking about tenor playing zones, about how to do crossovers. Let's see, why I think metronomes are overrated for drummers, etc. So there's a lot of different things in here, so stay tuned for that. But I am going to warm up, and I'm going to warm up with two different limb independence patterns that are from Don Moyo's book. Oh, that's funny. Instagram's frozen. It's just frozen with me holding the book up in the air. Nice. Very cool. Okay, so at least YouTube doesn't look like it's frozen. So the first pattern that I'm going to work on is a double time swung pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is in the hi-hat. Double time swung pattern. And I'm going to switch to this variation where the hi-hat still keeps playing on the and I'm going into this halftime feel that Dom calls the Philly Joe way. So I'm going to switch back and forth every 4 bars between this feel and this feel while I'm sight reading some charts. Now on the charts, I'm going to play short notes, 8th notes. Anything longer than that on the bass drum, okay? So that's the plan here. Now, the last time I played through this, I played this how fast? This is a spreadsheet with like how I was doing with Dom's charts, by the way. So if you're like, what is this? So it was 115 for that one, 110 for that one. Let's try 115 again. So to do this, I'm going to go into my home tab. In the home tab, there's the limb independence section. Every single one of the playlists inside of here, whether you're working on the permutations or these different straight or swung charts, has videos that shows you how to develop limb independence. And I've demonstrated it live on stream. In fact, I did 62 limb independence variations in one stream. Some of the limb independence variations sounded great, and others I still need to practice. Hence why I'm still practicing. But over the last year or so, I worked all these up using the methods that's outlined in this video. How to develop limb independence on the drum kit. Every one of the limb independence playlists links to this video, and this one that shows you 62 different ways that you can work on limb independence using these resources. You don't have to pay for a course. You don't have to pay for a book. Just watch those videos. It shows you how to use these free resources to be able to work on it. Now, I'm going to pick a random set of charts. Let's see, 26 through 30. Sounds great. So I'm going to switch between 2 different patterns. So the double time swung feel, and then 4 bars later, I'm going to switch to that Philly Joe halftime feel. And I'm going to do this at 115. This play along will count off in my headphones, and there's a play along track, but you can't hear it because of a sync delay. 1, 2, ready, and so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2. Switching now 1 to this pattern. So I'm going to switch back and forth between these two while sight reading through these charts. Ready? And whoops. I forgot to switch. I screwed up because I kept that second to last line. I kept that pattern going, this double time swung, into the very last line. So my bad. Otherwise, it felt mostly comfortable. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. So whether I'm doing this double time feel or the halftime right here, the hi-hat stays on the upbeat straight 8th notes the entire time. 2, 1, 2, ready, and totally had that on the wrong partial. Whoopsies. The ride pattern, that is. My bad. There we go. Trying to use this as a warm-up, and it's requiring a lot of my brain. Haven't drummed today. And I'm going to stretch and massage after this, and then work on more limb independence variations. And then at the very end of the stream, I'll work on some double bass stuff. I'm new to that. Again, practicing stuff I'm not good at yet, because what's the point of playing something if I'm already able to do it? 2, ready, and that's not practicing. Oop, read that wrong. My bad. I had a lot of students who would just like play stuff that they already knew really well, because it was more for like showing off as opposed to like actually trying to get better. And guess what? They didn't get as good as the people who actually practiced the stuff they weren't as good at yet. Read that wrong again. It's hard to talk while playing. Turns out. Okay, so this is feeling more comfortable switching back and forth between them. If this is too hard for you, stick with one pattern. And then maybe switch like every chart. Or maybe every 8 bars, as opposed to every 4 bars. 1, 2, here we go. Can't read today. Hooked on phonics did not work for me. If you knew Susie like I knew Susie, then you would like her too, like her too, like her too. If you knew Susie like I knew Susie, then you would like her too, like her too, like her too. Okay, so that I'm going to play through again, and I'll play with a different set of charts. But first, I'm going to stretch and massage to try and get my hands nice and relaxed. That was my warm-up. Trying to get my blood flowing, my brain going. Didn't really work on the brain part. We'll keep practicing. Maybe I'll eventually wake up. Hands, palms facing up. You pull in, you pull in, you push through. It stretches the sides of the forearms. It feels grand. To get out of this, go back out the way that you came. If you do rotary motions, stretch and hold right here for like traditional grip or Stevens grip. Those are both rotary motions. Or this way, but because I don't do those, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to stretch it. What I'm going to do now is stretch the underside of the forearm. So stretching along here, just pulling back. If you do this on the wall, you do 2 hands at a time, you can go twice as fast. Do, 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 do. Switch to the other hand. Every day is going to feel different. So some days you'll need to spend more time on a stretch or a massage. Other days you'll need to spend less time on it. Depends on how you're feeling. So this is stretching the underside of the forearm. Go to the opposite direction to stretch the top side of the forearm. If you do this one on the wall, the higher you go, the deeper the stretch. But you'll look like a zombie if you do it. You could also do this one on your leg if you're sitting down. Legs. Boop, 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 boop. Final stretch. Thumb to thumb. Stretching the fingers. And then I'll do a quick massage routine. And then I'll get back into playing that same pattern again. It was just kind of okay. A lot of reading errors, and then there was a couple parts where I just like screwed up the switching the ride pattern. Shame. But I think I can try it faster. Maybe. Famous last words. Stay tuned, folks. Again, this is the like advanced way of doing limb independent stuff. Once you get the patterns down, then you can practice switching between a couple of different limb independence patterns. So that way you can practice like changing the feel for different phrases. So that's what I'm practicing. don't start with this. Start with just one pattern at a time, maybe 2 limbs at a time, as opposed to 4, or in the case when I was speaking, 5 limbs, or 5 different independence parts. Now what I'm going to do is a massage. So I'm doing thumb on top, fingers underneath, just loosening up the forearm. If you are brand new to this, start with the beginner steps, the first step or 2 in the How to Develop Limb Independence video. Then you can move on to the advanced stuff. Once you get those down, follow the process. Don't start at the end. You will fail. I promise. Okay. Working my way from larger to smaller. So we're doing forearm to hand to fingers with the stretching. Same thing with the massaging. So forearm to hand to fingers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to massage the palm with the thumb, and the fingers will massage the back side of the hand. Ooh, that feels great. Do. Final massage is base the tip of each one of the fingers. Wiggle your way down it at least twice. If the finger is tight, do it more. Dum, 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 dum. And I'm going to do the same patterns that I just did. I wasn't super thrilled with how it sounded, so I'm going to do it again. If you're just jumping in, you're like, what patterns? I'm switching between 2 different feels, a double time feel and a half time feel. So in Don Moyle's book, which is 50 Ways of Syncopation, this book, it's pattern number 15 and pattern number 28, if I remember correctly. So pattern number 15 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the hi-hat's on the upbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ride is playing that double time feel. And then I'm going to switch to this half-time 16th note feel. Again, the hi-hat stays on the upbeat the entire time as I switch between these every 4 bars. Short notes will be on the snare drum. Anything longer than an 8th note will be on the bass drum. Okay? So I just did charts 26 through 30. What I'm going to do now is just go back to my home tab. I'm going to scroll down into the limb independence section. But if you want rudimental stuff, I highly recommend checking out the grid stuff, the chop stuff. And if you're a drummer of any type, make sure you check out the technique stuff, as well as the tips and lessons, where there's over 20 hours of me responding to Q&A on these practice streams. But let's get back to this. So I did that at 115 for the warm-up. Let's try at 120. We'll see how it goes. I might completely have myself. Stay tuned. Today's episode of Hit Drum. So I'm going into a limb independence playlist. Every one of these playlists links to this video, which teaches you how to develop limb independence on the kit. It shows the steps that I followed to get to where I am right now, where I'm now alternating between 2 different patterns, which is complicated. Start with the beginner steps. And then this one has 62 different ways that you can practice limb independence. But we just did 26 through 30, so let's just go to another random set. Let's do 46 through 50. There's 55 charts in there, so you can practice sight reading by just jumping around to different sections. And in all these thousands of play-alongs on my home tab, there are timestamps going 1 click at a time from very slow, sometimes as slow as 20 beats a minute, to very fast, sometimes as fast as 240 beats a minute. Here we go. It's counting off of my headphones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and switch. 2, 3, and then I'm gonna switch again. Totally missed the snare. Nice. Pro drummer. Switched on that line. Switched again. Cool. That felt comfortable. Every chart is different though, so some of them will feel great and others will be like, whoa, that was hard. Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. Cool. Feels comfy. And switch. Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. Read that wrong. On these charts, on the top line, it's always like this, like, ostinato. You can just sit here and play the ostinato, or you could, like, improvise for these 8 bars, whatever you want to do. 1, 2, 1, 2, Cool. Last chart. This feels way more comfortable. Yay! Switch. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ready? Switch. I had fun with that. I like it. Okay, so let me actually mark down that one. That's interesting. So if we look back in the spreadsheet here, when playing it like at this speed previously, 120, it was just kind of meh last time I did that. So that's interesting. It was mostly technically proficient or musical while playing through this. I'm just going to say technically proficient because that was mostly it, and I had fun with it. Let's go to the other one, which was pattern number 28. And this one I did 120, and it was technically proficient. and I had fun with it. Cool. So that'll help me to keep track of when I do this next time, what BPM I was at. Now, this spreadsheet, by the way, is keeping track of the average across all the different times I play this. So, for example, pattern number 2 in here, if we look at all these times scrolling to the right that I've played through this, on average, for column A, it says that across all these, the quality of the playing has been technically proficient. When I started this over a year ago, like working on all these 62 different variations, most of these were like meh or needs a lot of work. And over time, they have all become at least technically proficient or musical. Now what I want to do is I want to review 2 absurdly difficult ones. They're 3/4 straight over swung patterns. They are quite the handful, conceptually speaking. And when you look at these 2 patterns here, when I started it, they were like needs a lot of work or meh for a long time. Like it took me like a month for this first one to be able to like do the charts. And then it took me like 2 months for the second one to be able to do the charts. So you're like, what is the pattern? Well, the pattern is that it? Pattern number 52. Boop. So it's up right here from the vertical. And if you're on the horizontal, it's down here. So the pattern that I'm going to do is what I was just doing with the ride. But instead of 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a da 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 da, it's gonna be triplets. Da 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 cha cha triplet da 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 triplet 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 da 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 da. So this goes da 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 1 2 3 4, but you're doing 3 of them in the space of 4 notes. Okay, so this is basically a 3/4. Now the pattern is gonna have hi-hat on 2 and 4 while doing it, okay? While also playing that pattern, which is basically a straight pattern, I'm going to play through short on the snare, long on the bass drum. Swung. So it's a 3/4, straight over swung. So it's wacky. It's fun, though. Okay. Last time we did this, we did it 130. Okay. Let's do it. I'm going to go to the home tab. In the home tab. If you scroll down into this drumming tips playlist that has over 20 hours of me answering different questions about how to get better at performing and how to get better at teaching. If you scroll past a lot of these different videos, in drumming tip number 74, how journaling can help drummers, there's actually a link in here that allows you to make your own template here, your own stuff to practice, whether it's marimba stuff or rudimental stuff or whatever. So just click on this link and it'll be like, hey, do you want to make a copy of this? And then you go, yeah. So then you'll be able to make your own version that you can fill in with your own patterns. And if you look here, when you're looking at it, the previous patterns, you'll see, man, needs a lot of work for a lot of these. You'll see that I've made progress since this was posted a little over a year ago. So progress is being made. You're here for the break core. That's cool. I'm here for the drum core. Anyways, I'm going to play at 130, straight over swung, 3/4. Limb independence. Because the drums are playing swung at 130, I'm going to go to the swung drum charts as opposed to the straight ones that I was just like warming up with. And I'm going to go to a random set of 1 through 5. Sure. Sounds great. Oh, my knee just popped. Nice. Old age. High five. Actually, it's the knee that I like damaged in a car accident 21 years ago. So that makes sense. All right. So 130 BPMs in the timestamps for the description. So you can go at whatever BPM you want. And I don't hear it. Why is that? There we go. That's why. Okay. Fixed. Go. 2, 1, 2, ready, and so dun, That's the ride pattern. Hi-hat on 2 and 4. 2, 1, here we go. No, I totally messed it up. Cut. Unsubscribe. 1, 2, ready, and. That was weird. Two, 1, 2, ready, and. Whoa. This is why I'm practicing at it. That was rough. I might need to do 10 charts of this instead of 5. 1, 2. Not waking up this one. Do 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 do. Sorry, I had to ban somebody. Here we go. Dang. My mind was thinking about something else and it was like messed up my playing. Like if I'm not in like a good flow state for this, woo, it does not go good. Turns out 3 over 4 straight over swung is a little difficult. Oh, 1, 2, here we go. Better. It all comes down to the focus for this one. Again, it took me over a month to be able to like read through a chart doing this one. It's just like it's still not there yet where it like feels supernatural. See what I mean? good question. Cool. Okay, so let's just like review this for a second. So again, the hi-hat on 2 and 4. While the ride. Yeah, those upbeats are a little funky with the foot. Cool. Okay, let's try another set of 5 charts. This one is feeling uncomfortable for me this morning. Compared to the last time I played it, it's just kind of bleh. So let's go back into the limb independent section. I'll try it again at 130. If it's still sounding blah, maybe I'll slow it down. My brain is just a little slow today. Oishides. And for a reference, I just don't respond to trolls. I just ban, so nobody can see your follow-up comments. Wah, wah. 100 and 159. And by the way, Oasis, I wasn't saying you were the troll. It was somebody else that got banned earlier. So I don't see your question yet. So I'll keep playing. Cool. 130 timestamps in the description so I can jump to the exact BPM I want. If you want to go slower, you can play these charts as slow as 40. If you want to go faster, you can play these charts as fast as 240. But it turns out I can't play 3/4 straight over swung at 240. Not yet, at least. 1, 2, ready, and... Oasis, I still don't see a question, so I'm just going to play through these charts. Sweet. That felt better. Still requiring maximum effort, maximum brain power. 1, 2, ready, and... Hello. Looks like Ray. Hi. How you doing? Alrighty. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... What's the best warm-up for traditional grip as a middle schooler? Any of them. What I'd check out is under the home tab, the technique section, endurance and speed playlist, or stick control. Those could be good. It's on my home tab. I'll show you in a minute. Let me just play through one more chart. And then I'll show you. You're very welcome. Yeah, let me just play through this chart real quick, and then I'll give you a couple of options that are good for newer percussionists. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and read that wrong. My bad. Yeah, I played the wrong symbol on there. Okay, so let me just mark this down. It was on the second set of charts. It was mostly technically proficient, but the first set of chart was kind of between technically proficient. But I was making progress on it overall, so I'll keep working on that one. But to show you what I was talking about, so on my home tab, this is where you can find the thousands of free play alongs for like chop stuff or grid stuff, where I'm practicing the limb independent stuff, marching bass, blah, 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 blah. So the section that I was recommending was underneath the technique section in here. There's almost 500 different technique videos in here, but any like one of these will work as a warm up. But if you're just trying to get like the hands going, the blood flowing, a good one would be like the endurance and speed exercises, or maybe even like the stick control variations. So inside of the stick control, there's currently 16 different videos. There's just different sticking and some rhythm patterns and whatnot that are great for getting your hands going. But the endurance and speed, like doing 16th note pyramid, it's a very simple exercise where you're just playing, alternating. Pause the music. So 1 E and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and then you do a measure of doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4. And then 8. 1, 2. So now I'm doing 16 left, 2, 3. And then I do 2 measures, and then 4 measures. Something like this is a very simple, easy way to get yourself warmed up. And you'll just start slow. For middle school, maybe start at like 70 or 80 beats a minute just to get your hands going. You don't need to like play this one stupid fast. But any one of these exercises in the endurance and speed playlist would be a great way to just kind of like get your hands warmed up, like these stick control variations, or even some of these things that I'm going to work on later for my feet. That's Chug with hertas, which is this one. So this one, you can just use as a warm-up. Going through that. I'm going to practice that with my feet here in probably about 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how this next set of charts goes, but that can help you out. But since you mentioned traditional grip, second time's the charm. Go me. If you go to the home tab here, I'd highly recommend taking a minute and going into the drumming lessons playlist and watching the video that is how to hold traditional grip. It's less than 3 minutes of your time, and it shows you some different things to consider when holding traditional grip. So I've been teaching drums since 2003, so I've seen a lot of students who have had some issues with traditional grip. And for reference context, I used to march traditional in high school, college, and DCI, but now I just play match grip, so I do know how to do traditional. I just choose not to. But this has a lot of tips in there on how to hold traditional grip. But then there's a lot of other like good tips for you on like how to speed up a rudiment, like a paradiddle, or like why I look like a beginner when I'm practicing, even though I've been drumming for almost 30 years and I have a doctorate in music education, etc. So lots of good videos in here, if I do say so myself, that are like on a very specific topic. But also, when people come into these streams like you did and they ask a question, and they're not just a troll like the person that I banned earlier, I will edit them and put them in this drumming tips playlist that has over 20 hours of me answering different questions, from very basic stuff like how to hold traditional grip or like what are buzz rolls, etc., to more complicated stuff. So there's a ton of tips in here, over 20 hours, like tips for memorizing music, or how to prepare for performance anxiety, or this is more important than chops, or is slicing on tenors a bad thing, etc. So lots of different topics in there. Don't be like me. My drum cymbals are messed up and you still use them. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. My drum cymbals are practice cymbals. So these are low volume cymbals, which is why there's holes drilled in them and you can see my hand through it. And then I'm using the mesh heads by Remo Silent Stroke with these drum triggers that make it so that you can hear different sounds, etc. So it's just like good for practicing. Like my wife is like literally in the other room in a meeting right now, and nobody can hear me practicing. So for me, it's great. Like I love them, but it's okay if you're just practicing. That's okay. Anyways, speaking of practicing, I'm gonna practice another pattern that's even harder than the one that I just did, but a similar vibe. You'll see. Let me paste it here in a second. And paste. Okie dokie. So this one also requires parental permission to try. Do not try this out without a lifeguard. So the pattern is a soca pattern. Okay, so this is your standard soca where you have as a quarter note. We're just gonna take the hi-hat part. 1, 2, 3, 4, buckets, 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 buckets. But instead of playing it as 16th notes, I'm gonna play it as triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Buckets, 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 buckets. That's the quarter note, 4, and then I'm playing 3 of these in the space of those 4 quarter notes. Okay, so that's the 3 over 4, 4 over 3, however you want to think of it, and it's a straight pattern. Well, I'm gonna read through the charts on the drums. Swung. That was just 8th notes into quarter notes while playing buckets, buckets, buckets. Weird. Yeah, I know. I'm weird too. All right, so if we go to my home tab, I'm going to use the same set of charts in the limb independent section. And I'm doing swung on the drums, so I'm going to go inside of here. And the speed that I played this at last was 2,000 beats a minute, I think. But I don't want to show off today, so I'm going to do it at 120. Do it. My wife disapproves. She wants me to play it at 2,000. Yes. Maybe next time. Okay, so I'm going to go to a set of charts that I haven't played today. I don't think I've played through 41 through 45. You can go in random order like I am. You can go top to bottom, bottom top, whatever you want to do. Just don't play the same ones over and over, so that way you can actually practice sight reading. And use timestamps to go at whatever BPM you want. Again, this is a difficult one. It requires parental permission. It requires a fire extinguisher on immediate standby. Do not try this at home. If you're new to limb independence, this is like in a year or so you'd be able to maybe work on this. It took me about 2 months to be able to play through this just reading through a chart. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit my stick at one point and like messed up the hi-hat pattern. My bad. The stick underneath has that tendency, so I need to do like a crossover or just like get it out of the way of the stick. 1, 2, here we go. Again, it took me about 2 months to be able to do this. I couldn't even play this ostinato pattern with like quarter notes. And if you don't believe me, like go back and watch the prior streams. There's timestamps showing when I worked on different things. I literally couldn't play quarter notes with this. Oh my, that was such a weird one. Let me pause it here. So the feel of that, like, it's blurring over the bars. Don don ga on ga on ba boom boom ba ba. So that's like one idea, and then we shorten it. Boom ba. So this one right here on the second line. Boom ja 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 ja. So it's just like constantly like changing the feel to that 3/8 note pulse right there. So all while doing the 3/4, and then we get into this one. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 ba da da goo ba ga ga goo, and then we have just like straight up, just like dotted quarter notes. Well, again, doing the 3/4. That's a hard chart. Some charts are easier and some are harder. That's a hard one, regardless of what you're playing. Okay, last chart. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 1 2 3. Oh, I totally messed up the hi-hat part. My bad. So some of these patterns, like I have down where the muscle memory is, like I can like have a conversation like full on while playing through it, and it feels fine while still sight reading it. And then others, if there's like any kind of distraction, it just totally messes with me. So like something popped up on like one of the chats that I have up on here. And so I was like monitoring it to figure out like, well, what is that? Is this something I need to respond to? And while I was doing that, I just like totally messed up the ride pattern on here. Since it was inconsistent, I want to sit through another 5 charts with this particular pattern. And so I'm going to go back to the home tab, into the limb independence section. Lots more stuff, literally over 2,000 free exercises, tips, etc. But I'm in this section. And I'm going to play it again at 120 using Swung charts, but I just did those charts, so let's do... I don't think I've done 6 through 10 today, so let's try that. In all these thousands of play-alongs, just click timestamp to jump to whatever BPM you want, and it'll count off in your headphones or your speakers, whatever you're playing to. 2, 1, 2, ready, and... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're all playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the hi-hat is a straight pattern in 3/4. Oh, 1, 2, oh, 1, 2, here we go. Let me pause here for a second. So I want to show you something. So I was playing earlier with this technique where you're not crossing over. And so I'm playing on the lower like part of the snare drum, but it wasn't getting all of the snare hits with the drum trigger. And so to accommodate for that, I switched over to a wrist over wrist crossover like this. But it's like now like stupid loud on the snare. So it's like, which problem do I want to go with right now? This drum trigger is not being a good friend this morning, apparently. Anyways, so that's why you saw me change my technique up, as I was trying to adjust and accommodate for that. Here we go. With this shup, it makes it so that my wrist dips down, my hand, and it hits my stick underneath if I'm doing like a crossover like this. I keep hitting my stick. So what I'm doing, like when I was trying this on here, it keeps hitting my stick and it's like messing up my hi-hat pattern. So I'm trying to like figure out like what to work best with it. I think I'm just going to go with this one, which feels better, but it doesn't hit all the snares. So if you don't hear all the snare hits, you can blame that on the drum trigger or me messing up, which I've never done before and never in my life. Jeffrey, good morning. How you doing today? And welcome back. 1, 2. One of those days. It's one of those days. I just totally missed the hi-hat. 1, 2, ready, and... You doing great? Good to hear. Good to hear. Glad to have you back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Read that wrong. Okay, last chart. Wish me luck. This is a groovy one. It reminds me of a Bion because of the bass drums. Yeah, so Bion is this. So that last chart. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. So this is the ostinato pattern. Etc. So that's a fun one that lines up with it. Cool. Okay, so most of the issues were like reading airs. Hooked on phonics did not work for me. And then me hitting my hand airs, which turns out I'm not very good at playing the drums whenever I'm hitting my sticks like this randomly. So maybe I should not do that. That's my pro tip for next time. It was otherwise, the actual limb independence part was mostly technique proficient. It was just me errors. And I was making progress on it for the most part. Okay, speaking of making progress. So I actually am cosplaying as a drum kit player. So I'm rudimental percussionist and concert percussionist with less than 1% of time on limb independence, drum kit, etc. So I've never worked up my feet for double bass. So I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch between two different techniques while playing an endurance and speed exercise. So I'm going to do heel down, which is the primary technique that I use for more control, more dynamics, etc. on bass drum. And then for the other technique, I'm going to use heel up. And I'm going to switch back and forth between the two while playing through an exercise. The exercise is in the technique section here. So when you click on the header and expand, the exercise that I'm going to play is inside of the endurance and speed playlist. There are currently 70 videos inside of here that work on endurance and speed. I'm scrolling down to the Chug variations, and I'm going to do this with hertas. So when I started this, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, I started at 60 and got up to 70. And it sounded terrible, even at 60. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start at 70 because I've made some progress. So I'm going to keep pushing my feet to play a little bit faster. My goal is to make it so that eventually that I can play this exercise at the speed of my hands. But right now, my feet are like, I just can't do it. So that's why we're practicing. The stuff that I'm not good at yet. Eventually, I'll add in the hands while doing this. But right now, it's just the feet. Heel down. Now heel up. 2. L. 2. Yeah. Heel up. Or heel down, sorry. 2. Just keep switching. Late. Heel up. 2. And 2. And 2, heel down. And 2, and da. Okay, it feels way more comfortable than it did a couple weeks ago when first working on this. But I'm again going until we get to the breaking point. 75, heel up. Heel down, and 2, and 1, and 2, D. Heel up, 2, and 1, and 2, da. Star Wars? Does it make you think of the Throne Room song? Darth Vader comes out like a final boss. Maybe he's off camera. Stay tuned. Hi. Nihonjin desu ka? Okay, so that feels way better than it did previously, and it's 20 clicks faster than we started with a couple weeks ago. Yay! Making progress on it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do an even harder version. It's got just some more notes. So I'm gonna go back into this playlist. So in the home tab, scrolling down to the technique section, click to show all of these. In the endurance and speed exercises inside of here, instead of doing chug with hertas, I'm going to do chug with singles and hertas, which is inside of here. And I'm going to start off at 75, and I'm going to try and get like 10 clicks faster with that. We'll see. My legs might fall off. We'll find out. It's been a year since it's been popping in and out. Well, welcome back again. Two. Wrong pedal. Okay, now heel up. 2. And 1, 2. Dee, 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 da. Heel down. 2. L and 2. I have YouTube Premium? Yeah, I love it. Gets rid of all those ads. Woo! Heel down. 2. Okay. Heel up. Wish me luck. This is too fast for my feet. And 2. And 1, 2. Oh my. Heel down. 2. Oh, my leg is starting to cramp. Heel up. 1, 2. Da 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 da. Yeah, just not a control over the heel up. 1, heel down. Oh my. Heel up. Last time. 1, 2. Too fast, too furious. Okay, my legs are too tired. Cool. Progress is being made. Again, this right now is 24 clicks faster than I started with like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So progress is being made. It's feeling more comfortable, but still a long way to go before it'll get to be like my hands. But I know what that took, and I know I'm willing to invest that time on my feet to get them much better than they are now. Speaking of much better than they are now, if you want to get much better than you are right now, there's thousands of resources to help you with that on my home tab of YouTube. Just click on any one of the headers, and it shows you all of the chop stuff, like the different shopping sprees, or the chug variations like I was just doing, cheesy poofs, whatever. Or there's over 1,000 grid variations. Click on the header, and it shows you all of the different rudiments with all the different triplet and 16th note variations. And some wacky ones like herta grid, etc. Limb independence was where I was practicing today. Every one of the playlists in this section links to a video that shows you how to develop limb independence. So for example, you go here, this video, how to develop limb independence on the kit. It outlines several steps that I have followed on these live streams, starting from absolute trash to actually being able to read these different charts and different permutations. Speaking of, there are 62 ways that you can read those different charts and permutations if you check out this video, which was from a live stream where I did over 3 hours of playing through one chart 62 different ways. So check that out if you're interested in it. Some of them sound great, some of them I still need to practice. Speaking of, if you want to practice marching bass drum, there's over 500 resources inside of this section. There's a bunch of drumline cadences. There's a bunch of sight reading exercises. These all become public starting in November, I think, so stay tuned for that. There's almost 500 technique exercises. When you click on this one, the one that I was playing was in the endurance and speed exercises, but there's more stuff in here to work on stick control, your rolls, your timing, your flams, whatever. Check out that section. And finally, if you're like, well, how do I practice all this stuff? Under the tips and lessons section, there's over 20 hours of me responding to some of the excellent questions that I've gotten in these practice streams over the years, as well as some scripted lessons on very specific things like how to hold traditional grip, or how to play flams, or how to fix slicing, etc. If you see any of these 600 or so videos that are labeled as members first, every single one of them is scheduled to release for free. It just might be tomorrow, or it might be 600 days from now. So for example, this one currently says that it's members first, but if you want early access to the 600 or so videos, if you click the join button, it's 99 cents. That's the cheapest price I can make it on YouTube, and you get every one of the videos that I am going to release early access. So it might be a year from now until it comes out. It might be a year and a half from now, or it might be like next week until it comes out. They're all scheduled to release for free, I promise. So you don't have to pay for my content. I don't sell a book. I don't sell an app. I don't sell a course. I don't teach privately anymore. I'm just trying to create these resources for free. And speaking YouTube Premium, I try and make it so that I'm basically paid through AdSense. But I make about $1 a day on all of these thousands of free resources. So it's not paying my bills, unfortunately. Maybe one day. But we'll get there. I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to get it ready to play through Yakuza Like a Dragon. If you go to the gaming section and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can check out that game from the very beginning in this playlist right here. But it'll probably be 15 or 20 minutes to get myself set up, because I got to move the desk and whatnot to be able to do that. But if you enjoy these thousands of free resources, all I ask is that you share it with another person. And if you don't enjoy these thousands of free resources, then all I ask is that you share it with an enemy. Goodbye.